If someone were to ask you, what's the number one power source in the serve? What would you tell them? Would you say that it's your leg drive? Would you say that it's like wrist snap or forearm pronation? What would you say? Well, believe it or not, it's actually your elbow. Let me explain. Yes, it's your hitting elbow. See, during the service motion, there is a circle that the racket draws. Here's John Isner. Watch his racket go around that green line. In fact, if I just put a yellow circle right here, watch how his racket goes around and comes back to that yellow circle again. So how is that circle being drawn? Well, it's actually the elbow movement. Look where his elbow is pointing before he draws the circle. And now look where his elbow is pointing after he's done drawing the circle. See, when you are hitting a serve, what you want, yes, is the racket to come over and knock off the birthday hat, yes. But you want to drive up with your elbow. Watch his elbow drive up. In fact, his elbow is right at this point, the highest thing. If I just draw a straight line across from his elbow, the thing that's highest in the air is his elbow. That is what drew the circle. You cannot draw a circle, which means you cannot build up racket speed if you aren't going up and driving up with your elbow. In fact, right here, his elbow, obviously, because it's the highest thing, it's higher than his hand. I challenge you to go out and film yourself and see if you can get from your elbow to your hand to actually be a downward line. That's a ton of flexibility, but it's showing that the elbow drives up. See, the elbow goes the opposite direction as compared to the racket. If I draw a line where his elbow is going to go and then draw his racket, watch how they go in opposite directions. As the elbow drives up, that's what drives the racket down. The racket gets thrown around, the racket actually gets thrown off to the right and then goes up to contact. Here's Curios doing the exact same thing. We'll stop it right here. Now he's about to draw a circle with his racket. Look at his racket. He's drawing a circle. How is he doing that? Watch his elbow. His elbow drives up. It's almost like he's going to try to hit the ball with his elbow. And that's the feeling that you want to have. When you're driving up with your elbow, what you actually want is your hand to be quite close or have the feeling like it's quite close to your shoulder. When you drive up with the elbow, the racket gets thrown around and you get a tremendous amount of racket speed. Here's Taylor Fritz. Watch his elbow make this move. Look at his elbow drive up. Notice that it coincides with the racket drop. If you struggle with the racket drop, then don't worry about necessarily dropping the racket. Think of it as your elbow driving up toward the ball. He, just like Isner, has the elbow higher than the hand. It's not easy to do, just speaking from experience. But if you can get your elbow to drive up toward the ball, that's where you're going to draw that circle and crush your serve. Here's J.J. Wolf. I absolutely love his service motion. I think of the players I just showed you, I think he's my favorite when it comes to the technique that he uses. It's so simple. Look at his elbow. I want you to look at the service motion differently. Yes, do you want to drive up with your legs? Of course, when you get your legs driving up as the racket's hitting the birthday hat, that helps accentuate the racket drop. It helps accentuate the circle. Maybe it makes the circle bigger, right? Is a better way to say it. But honestly, you have to have a circle first for it to get bigger with the leg drive. So notice his elbow leading up. Again, he's got the same thing. The elbow is higher than his hand. I want you to go out and film yourself. And when you toss the ball, you begin moving the racket up toward the top of your head like you're saluting, right? Like you're going to knock off the party hat. And when your elbow is bent, that's when you want to take your elbow. Notice he's pointing his elbow behind him. You want to drive your elbow up toward the ball. And you do that with your elbow bent, by the way. So you got to have your hand feel like it's close to your shoulder. That's what draws the circle, and you absolutely crush your serve. Now, if you're looking for people in your local area to play matches against or practice with, or if you want to find a coach who's close to you who can help you with your game, then use my link in the description and pinned in the first comment, playyourcourt.com/2minutetennis. When you use my link to sign up, you get 50% off. So go out and film yourself serving from the back view, as you just saw with the pros, and see if your elbow is making that same move, driving up toward the ball. And if you do, there's no doubt. You're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.